Hey there, it's Miss Angela, and I am so excited that you all get to join us on this new vlog series. And of course, the first one starts off with the one thing that I feel like I've noticed so many of my young adult clients have been going through, and that is struggling with being stuck. Right? Struggling with the word adulting, right? Have you heard of adulting? So adulting is, those things that when you grow up and become an adult are those things that you hold responsibilities of, like owning a home, right? Having a car, right? Getting your bills paid on time, right? Having a career that's actually growing and maybe will take you somewhere. That's adulting. And a lot of my young adults, and when I say young adults for myself, I really mean between about 18 and 30, maybe up to 35 is really considered a young adult. And they're struggling, right? They're struggling. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling unsuccessful. They're feeling unmotivated. They feel like they're sometimes stuck between, what do they say, like a rock and a hard place. And they're really trying to figure out, what is it going to take to get them out of this? Now, I've noticed with a lot of my grown adult clients, right? The parents they're saying that my young adult is just struggling and I just need some help to figure out how to get them unstuck, right? Many of these young adults have been called lazy. Some of them have actually been called like worthless. And when you start getting feelings like that of hopeless, feeling worthless, feeling unsuccessful, it really pushes you into some levels of some really unhealthy, really unhealthy emotional modes, And as being a mental health wellness coach, I understand that toll that puts on the young adult by just feeling that way. The parents having the issue and dealing with the challenges with their young adult, it causes a lot of conflict. Right? It causes some resentment. It causes a lot of things that your relationship within your families, you all just don't need. So join me for these next few minutes as I just give you 5 wonderful little secrets on how to get your young adult unstuck and on the move. Okay, so the first one, this is a fun one for me. It's interesting how we've all heard of the midlife crisis, right? No shade, maybe you're going through it right now, a midlife crisis. There is such a thing called the quarter life crisis, right? So if we think of quarter of a life, we're thinking of just half the life, taking it in half. So it's about right now at this age of being a young adult, and it is a quarter life crisis. Now we know with a quarter life as well as a midlife, it simply just means you've gotten yourself in the situation in life where maybe you look up and you're like, where am I? How did I get here? Do I feel fulfilled in my life? Do I feel like I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And a lot of times people just kind of throw their hands up and the crisis begins. So we want to be able to figure out ways to avert this crisis. And there's some things that you can definitely do that help realize that we're going through it. We all know the first thing when you want to admit that there's a problem or there's a challenge is simply doing what? Admitting it first. So admit that the quarter life crisis is real. For parents, like I said, you might be going through a midlife crisis while your young adult is going through a quarter life crisis. And I'm going to tell you right now, in some households, I've seen it. It's crazy. It has gone completely crazy and the relationships are failing because both people are struggling. So let's recognize that the quarter life crisis is real. Let's accept it and let's figure out how to make it better. Okay, that's step 1. Accept that the quarter life crisis is real. Now, the second one, it's a pretty big one. I want you to manage your expectations, okay? Now, parents, I want you to manage the expectations of your young adult, but then young adults, I also want you all to be able to manage the expectations that you have for yourselves, okay? Now, recognize this, expecting too much from oneself is absolutely damaging, not only to your self-esteem, but your overall well-being, right? We understand that it's great to have high standards, right? Because high standards can get you a little bit further along. But in the same thing, if you are trying to be perfect, if you are beating yourself up because you are not doing well, maybe because you failed, maybe because you made a wrong turn, maybe because you really thought you were going to try something and it just didn't work out, and then your expectations are gone and lost. Right? We all know, for maybe if those of you who've played sports, right? You know that you can lose one game, but you can end up winning the championship, right? So it's really understanding that your expectations just need to be understood what your goals really are, right? So my big part, set practical goals, right? Set goals that are practical, that are attainable, and more importantly, if you're doing this within your relationships of parents to young adult, make sure that the goals are agreed upon. Make sure they are agreed upon. Make sure that you all are on the same accord of knowing what you're supposed to be doing and what the main goal is. It really helps get rid of some confusion, right? So we want to make sure we get some of those confusions, understand what's going on. Let's say you decide, hey, mom and dad, grandparents, whoever, I'm going to go back to school. Right? Great idea. We're going to go back to school. You agree upon as an adult, the parent or the grandparent, that I'm going to support you. Well, maybe we need to figure out truly how long this support needs to last. Right? Is it like, I'm just going to support you for this first semester? Am I going to support you throughout the entire next year or until you finish? Also, what are those next levels of support? Does that mean you're going to be living at home? Does that mean I'm going to help you with an apartment? Set those expectations clear, but also have an idea, have a clear understanding of what happens when things maybe go a little bit different. Because we all know things change. If we don't hold up our end of the bargain, they don't need to hold up theirs. So it's really having clear expectations to know, what do we expect? Right? So that we're all on the same page and all on one accord. So manage your expectations and make them clear to everyone that's involved. Okay? Everyone. It will help. My third one is find out where you're connected. Now, yes, I said I was a mental health wellness coach, but first I really am a spiritual coach. I understand the importance and the aspects and the amount of support that I get within my faith, right? So it's important that you feel grounded to something. Be grounded to something that gives you your purpose, that gives you your meaning, right? I very much believe that we all have a purpose in this life. And by getting ourselves grounded within our faith, within our religion, within our understanding, it helps us to be able to grow. It helps us to be able to have that support when maybe mom and dad and grandparents aren't around. It's that inner voice that's from that inside that really pushes you to continue to go. Because we all know life is going to have its moments. It's going to have its moments where things fail and fall. It's going to happen. But when you have your faith and you're grounded in it, helps change your mindset. It lets you know that this isn't the end. It lets you know that your dreams are attainable. And like I said, there is a purpose on your life. So let's figure out what it is. And when you're grounded in your faith, when you're grounded in having some belief, when you believe in mercy, right? It makes it so that you're able to figure out what life is going to be like for you, right? And how it's going to feel, and that you're supported throughout the entire way, right? That guidance, that support, that level of understanding, in your spirituality, that believing, that deep believing helps get you to feel a little bit unstuck, because okay, there's something on the other side of being just stuck. Something on the other side. So we want to also remind us that we're never alone. You're never alone in this journey, right? So ground yourself in your faith. Find something that is valuable, that is concrete, that you can put your faith into, right? I put my faith into God and trusting and believing that, like I said, there's a purpose on my life. And I want to figure out what that purpose is. So I'm driven in that. So find your connection. The fourth one. This is a good one, y'all. I'm going to tell you right now. This one cracks me up a little bit because we do this so easily. It's get rid of the excuses. Get rid of the excuses. Now let me get this. Now when it comes to parents, please get rid of the excuses. We recognize that so many parents make so many excuses for their children, their young adults. They just do. It is that ability to cover something up. It's the ability to say, I'm really a good parent if my kid is acting crazy and doing something in this world that I did not want them to do. Parents, you think that it makes you a bad parent. You think that it makes you look like you can't control your kid in society, when in reality, you might have done everything that you were supposed to. And your child is still out there doing their thing, finding out their life, finding out how big their wings will fly, right? So get rid of the excuses. If your young adult is not working right now, is maybe living at home, is maybe not paying on, the bills that they're supposed to, recognize that that's that balance of like, okay, what are the excuses that come with that? Get rid of the excuses. Hold the feet to the fire. Hold them accountable, right? Like I said before, when you have those clear goals, you're able to get rid of these excuses, right? And then my young adults, let me tell you, get rid of the excuses, because all it's really doing is pushing you back. Yes, we all know that having a quick excuse for the moment makes us feel a little bit better, maybe gives us a little bit more time, maybe to get something done. But we're adults now, y'all. The excuses are only going to push us back, make us more procrastinators, potentially turn things into making us seem unreliable, right? And my thing is, when we look at, getting careers and becoming amazing partners, in the future, it's being able to be respectable. It's being able to be loved. It's being able to not make excuses, being able to complete task at hand, right? Those are really great qualities. We want to get some things done. But if you have excuses, it's going to stop you every time. So excuses push you back from ultimately completing the difficult things. Get rid of them. They're not serving you well. They're keeping you stuck because you keep making excuses, and actually you're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper in being stuck. So get rid of the excuses. And then finally, my most favorite one, it's get yourself a good coach. Okay, get yourself a good coach. You want to be able to find someone that really is skilled in understanding how to really get you unstuck. Because yes, we can do all these tasks that we said today, but getting yourself a good coach that's going to help hold you accountable, that's going to be your support buddy, that's going to help make sure that they know the right steps and the right plan, that's going to make it so that you're not trying to do this thing overnight, right? We're not trying to make overnight success, because then it's not as real. You want a great coach that's going to be able to help you with every part of the process. Maybe reveal some things that are within you being stuck, that really are those limiting beliefs, maybe some things that you've just heard that you've always believed, or just feeling like you just don't know where to start. Having a good coach will help you get to those next levels. Now, I know the other part about having a coach, parents, you can tell me if I'm wrong with this, but how many times have you told your young adult or your child to do something and it was really, really great advice and they didn't listen to it? But let a mentor out in the street, let their best friend, let somebody else, it could be in a movie, right? And they hear this advice and they're like, wow, that's amazing. I've never heard that before. And that becomes that level of advice, right? And you're like, but I just said it to you not that long ago. Well, we understand that sometimes it just takes somebody else to put that message in to help get things done. And young adults, I understand sometimes it is just easier to listen to other people than your parents, because you might not think that they fully understand you, right? So get yourself a good coach. Recognize that our friends, right, some of these new apps that have come on the market really are not skilled enough, in my opinion, always to give us those best advice, right? To really help us and make sure that we're doing the things we want to do. They're great little resources, but also recognize by telling your friends and families a lot of maybe your issues, you're putting that burden on them. And they just might not be skilled enough or in the right frame of mind at the moment to be able to take it on. But by getting yourself a good coach, you are able to have someone that will be able to help you along your journey. So in closing, remember, you are going to accept that quarter life crisis is real. You are going to manage your expectations. You are going to find where you are not connected and get yourself connected and grounded. You're going to get rid of all of those excuses, right? And then you're going to find yourself a good coach. So do those 5 things, and I'm telling you, you'll start helping your young adult get unstuck. I'm Angela Lightfoot, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'll see you soon. Bye.